Hi, I'm Mike Gambardella, and you're here with us on the latest episode of Pat's Latest. Again, the Super Bowl is in the books, the offseason's officially underway, and while the Patriots aren't going to have official news coming out too often, there is already one roster move that they have announced, and more probably coming down the pike. Adam Schefter has his latest around the NFL, where wide receiver seems to be the talk of the town, and everyone wants a piece of the action at this point. And the NFL draft stays front and center with many young players trying to up their draft stock and a lot of needs coming for a lot of NFL teams on the different sides of things before free agency gets underway. We'll start with that roster move from the New England Patriots as they have decided to cut a former starting offensive lineman. A little surprising for a team that didn't have the success with that offensive side of the ball. But Chuks Okorafor, who was one of Elliott Wolf's really big signings last year, and expected to come in and anchor and stabilize that offensive line and either take that starting left tackle or right tackle spot and set things up, at least at the beginning, for Jacoby Brissett, really never came to fruition. He did get injured at the start of the season in week 2 and was placed on that exempt left squad list at the beginning, but gets a head start on his free agency and actually a classy move here by the Patriots, which helps out the 27-year-old who's had some injury problems. Because of that exempless status, there were some questions around there. And because he does intend to resume his career, it allows him to get that head start on setting up interviews and getting things going for another team. So, tip of the cap by a classy move by the Patriots. Again, not something that's going to fully hurt them. Disappointing that a signing did not work out, but potentially pairing Elliott Wolf with Mike Vrabel and a lot of the other additions that we've talked about to the front office staff will hopefully help in this new free agency process. Additionally, this could have a really kind of trickle down effect, the ripple, really, even if you will, what the Patriots might do now at that number 4 pick. And again, will matter much more because of what the Patriots will or not able to do in free agency and who they're able to bring in, especially on that offensive line. But a lot of the mock drafts that are coming out, especially even from Dane Brugler, Matt Miller, a lot of the NFL draft pundits around are starting to mock more of Will Campbell, the big time offensive tackle from LSU, and seeing if he could actually be that big time person that's going to help out. And if that actually does come to fruition, it would be a little surprising, mainly because it's a guy who has questions on if he's actually a tackle long term. Now, that's not exactly what you would look for on a blindside protector, especially with having someone like Drake May in position. And we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but it's something that could have some issues moving forward because you're having to move a lot of pieces around. Now, it goes quickly back to that point about free agency, and if Elliott Wolf's able to bring in a few different interchangeable pieces, you can say, okay, let's just take the best available, and Will Campbell has the tape to really back that up. But if you're looking for a traditional left tackle, that potentially is not it, and that's why you started to see him not be mentioned as much up front. And we've talked about more about if the draft unfolds where Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter are off the board and one of those two top quarterbacks is still there, the Patriots might trade out of that spot because you could get Campbell later. But as Campbell starts to see his name come back up, if there's the inclination that, hey, this is a guy that can help anchor the line, whether it's at a guard or tackle spot, and you don't care which one it is, you might say the investment is worth it. Me personally, if you're spending that much on a guard at the top of the draft, you have to be absolutely positive that this is going to be an all-pro player. So it would be very important to watch what Will Campbell does at the combine, through his pro days, and where he starts to stack up against the rest of the players in this draft. And should the Patriots end up either trading back, taking someone on maybe in the other side of the trenches like Mason Graham, the defensive tackle from Michigan, or try and go more towards the offensive side of the ball, go someone like Tet McMillan and get another weapon for Drake May. again, a lot of options still available, but interesting to see a lot of the NFL draft pundits saying, hey, look, offensive line's an issue for the Patriots. The best way to help out Drake May is to get the best uh, tackle, guard, offensive lineman, which is Will Campbell, in this NFL draft. Switching gears a little bit, looking at the wide receiver position in free agency, Adam Schefter with a few reports out there, as well as T. Higgins actually himself. And we'll start with T. Higgins, who actually, we started to hear more about people knew what T. Higgins was doing, or he's going to hold longer and he's going to wait and do certain things. He actually went on social media and posted on X with the following quote of, I'm going to let y'all know first. So if you want to know the latest news on T. Higgins and where he's going to sign or what he's going to do or when he's going to wait, set up notifications for T. Higgins the same way you're setting up your subscription alerts for this channel, so you can get both of what he's going to do and what that means for the Patriots all in one fell swoop. But don't be surprised if it is a splash move, and that's one of two things: to either say it's going to be a long-term contract with the Cincinnati Bengals, which would be a splash because Joe Burrow has come out publicly and said he wants that and is willing to adjust his contract to make that happen, or two other avenues. He decides to break the bank and just go get as much as he can in free agency. Perhaps that is what the Patriots end up doing. And then the third option is that Cincinnati decides it's time to cut bait and we need something for this. And they could franchise tag him again and potentially package him to get something. So if it's, giving up a second round pick, if it's giving up a player. There was a scenario that was floating around out there that Tennessee Titans could be willing up to give Jeffrey Simmons, the star defensive tackle. Could the Patriots look to start pairing some of the players that they have? Would they be willing to move on from a Juwan Bentley? Because we're seeing a lot of reports out there that Mike Vrabel's defense is situated around these faster, lighter linebackers, and that's really not what Bentley or Tavai or Taki, really the top 3 or 4 guys that the Patriots have had previously are thumpers in the middle. That's not exactly what Mike Vrabel has typically gone for. So is that a scenario that could play out? Again, a lot on the table, but on the heels of that, T. Higgins is one of a lot of wide receivers, and he's actually one of 10. Here's the list: Debo, Kupp, Higgins, Devontae Adams now with Aaron Rodgers now finding out he's out of the Jets, so don't be surprised to quickly see Devontae Adams follow suit and end up somewhere else. And the other free agents we've talked about: Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, Chris Godwin, Slayton, Cooper, and Diggs as well. So that's 10 prototype potential number 1 wide receivers, whether they're on the older end of their spectrum or careers. It's up for debate. But Adam Schefter's quote was, of these players that were out there in free agency or available for trade, this is the quote-unquote sexiest position that's available this offseason. So hopefully we get to see the Patriots at least in the conversation for a lot of these. And one last note on T. Higgins as well from Adam Schefter here, talking about when Mike Vrabel was brought on and, talking about the Patriots coaching job and what it made it was appealing to Mike Vrabel is the fact that, the Patriots have this league high cap space and that can really transform a franchise. And New England has the financial liberty to upgrade its roster however it sees fit. And that's whether it's having the chance to pay T. Higgins $30 million a year or more potentially, or upgrading an entire offensive line that will be addressed. So that completely hits on everything we just talked about. Even Adam Schefter is agreeing. The Patriots are going to look very different on offense. Will look different probably stylistically on defense. It'll be interesting to see which positions that they identify first to go after. We'll end today and talk about a fun story and maybe a few too many connections to stop us from asking questions, really. After A.J. Brown and the Eagles won the Super Bowl, he was at the panel at the dais, and as was Julian Edelman. And we found out that Julian Edelman actually had gone in with the Fox broadcast and got into the Eagles locker room before the game. And Julian actually left a note inside A.J. Brown's locker. Julian went on to say that, he's been a big fan of A.J. Brown for some time, remembers him coming into the league as a rookie, and was extremely excited for him, and gave that pregame note. AJ declined to say what was on that note, but did admit that, quote unquote, it meant the world to him that Julian would actually go and do that. And furthermore, he went on after winning the Super Bowl with the Eagles to say that he actually grew up a Patriots fan. Didn't need to say that. I know it's Julian Edelman, but he's not there representing the Patriots anymore, but went on to say that. The other piece of that is that A.J. Brown came into the league with the Tennessee Titans, where his coach was Mike Vrabel. That's a lot of tie-ins. Again, A.J. Brown not going anywhere. Philadelphia fans are going to, if they end up hearing this, are going to be like, there's no way. But there is a lot of smoke around this. And when teams do win a Super Bowl, we saw it with the Patriots many times, you have to start looking at your roster very earnestly and where you have the availability to save money to be able to build up in other spots. Howie Roseman does an excellent job with that, on top of drafting better than anyone else recently. So, knowing all of that and knowing that the Patriots have a lot of change coming their way as well, one to stick in the back pocket for right now. Do not get your hopes up, but a lot of smoke, not quite fire. I'm sure Julian Edelman will continue his pitch, but A.J. Brown, one of the top receivers in the league, along with 10 others that we've already mentioned, expect one of those names to be in Foxborough when 2025 rolls around. We'll continue to bring you the most up-to-date things coming for your New England Patriots. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, get in the comments, and let us know what you think, who the Patriots should sign, and who they should be after. And be sure to get into all of our older episodes as well, which has plenty of information to get you up to speed before the new year kicks off on March 12th. Fight on, Foxborough.